Everyone keeps asking me about soap brows and I'm about to do them for this video, so I thought I would make this little soap brow tutorial in the middle of the other tutorial. It's like tutorial inception, all the videos going on. So now I'm going to show you the soap brow technique, and if you want to see how I got this look or how I finished this look, the tutorial will be linked below. So first of all, we're going to need transparent soap. This is just the pear soap. Got to make sure it's transparent, otherwise you're going to end up with like cakey, ashy looking brows. Needs to be clear. You're also going to need a clean mascara spoolie. You can just buy packs of disposables at salon services or on eBay, wherever you can find them. So the soap brow is not a new thing. It was actually a technique used many years ago by the likes of Sophia Loren and a bunch of Hollywood beauties. All it does is pushes up the brow, makes it set in place and lets you draw in like a thicker shape of brow. So you're going to need to wet the soap. So I'm just using a priming water from Freedom. You're just going to do a couple of spritzes. You don't want the soap to be like absolutely dripping wet, because then you're going to get too like thin and wet of a consistency to push your brows up. The consistency you want is kind of like a paste, but you don't want to end up with like bubbles. You've gone too far, too wet if there's bubbles. So then I'm just going to take the soap on the spoolie and I'm just going to brush my brow hairs up with it. You want to brush them like up but a bit out. If you just go up, they're going to look pretty crazy. I mean, they look a little bit crazy this way until you fill them in, but still. Also, drag queens use this technique because it absolutely like flattens the hair to your face if you put a lot on. And that means that you can like conceal over your brows and draw them in a different place, like higher up, as drag queens like to do it. Don't worry as well if it starts to like remove your makeup a little bit around here or move it. You can easily top that up. It doesn't really affect it unless you've put a ton of soap on. So can you see already how this is going to allow me to draw in a thicker brow without looking at like overpainted and having a big line of like no hair and just brow powder. It's actually going to let me draw over hair, which is going to make them look bigger but more realistic. I love this technique because I can make brows look full but hairy. They're not gonna just look like a big like painted on, you know, like brow with no hairs. You want the fluff. And sometimes like one will be a little bit more rogue than the other, so just try and check out and make sure they're even. Or as even as possible. Eyebrows are sisters, not twins. I tend to brush the hairs like right up at the beginning, just so they've got that little fluffy bit at the start, and then start to brush out. So now I'm going to go in with brow powder. I prefer powder to like a pencil, just because it's softer and you can get in with your brush and make it really defined. I think sometimes when you go in with a pencil, you can easily go totally overboard. I don't mind like pomades and gels, but they can be a little bit harder to work with if you're not as experienced with a brow. So we're going to stick to a powder here, and it's what I like in general. I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills brow powder in soft brown. So I'm going in with this brow line brush from Zoeva with the brow powder on it. And you just want to start where the bottom of the hairs are. I never start right at the front of the brow, I start a little bit further in, just so you don't get a really intense line at the start. And once you've put the line in, just buff it out a little. This is a good thing with powder. If you make a harsh line, you can blend it a bit as well. Again, I'm following along the bottom of the hairs. I know I've got this like bald patch here, but I'm just going to fill that in. I mean, if your brows are pretty good and not like sparse like mine, you might be able to soap brow them without filling them in. It's completely up to you. You might also think like, why don't you just use a brow gel instead of the soap? But The soap works like better than brow gel. It's stronger, it really smooths down the hair, and they just do not budge until you wash them off. And that is how I do my soap brows. You can do them as soft or as dramatic as you like. I think I've got mine as even as possible, but sometimes you have to take a little step away and have a little play with that. So that's my brows and my full face done. To go watch this face tutorial, there'll be a link below. And if you enjoyed the brows, please thumbs up and subscribe. I'm finally done!